Tuli just returned from an incredible railway journey from here to Canada on the other side of the coast and back.
That was the best part. Charlie Chaplin said he performed best when he was tired. But that was Charlie Chaplin. I also get 10-minute after images, so I prefer that you use film that doesn't, would you go out and change the film? Film that doesn't need a flash. Thank you. The Fugs Startle. In 1964, I was a poet monkey, Mankay. I was a poet, Mankay, living on East 10th Street between B and C. And we poets would all read at Le Metro Cafe, an early, cheap coffee house on 2nd Avenue, just north of St. Mark's Place. We spelled that M-A-R-X. Actually, the proprietors made their money as a bookie joint, and all the faux antique chairs and tables you sat on and at were for sale. This coffee house became the place, and any poet of any renown who came to New York would read there, and it was an open house, that is, anyone could read, and Ginsey, Burroughs, Corso, et al., especially Al, would read there often. Among the lesser luminaries were myself and Ed Sanders. You can read all about this in the paperback anthology by Alan Deloche, published first by University of Buffalo Press and then, I think, Anchor Press. After reading, we would all retire to a local Polish bar in the cellar of the Dome on St. Mark's Place, and the fat-ass poets would drink beer and attempt to dance to the jukebox tunes of the early Beatles and the Rolling Stones. One night, Ed Sanders said to me, approximately, "We poets can do better than these dipshits. Let's start our own rock and roll band." I loved that idea, and I picked the Valderized name Fugs from Norman Mailer's The Naked and the Dead. How many of you have read that? Very good. Dorothy Parker is reported to have met the young Mailer at a party, and upon introduction is reputed to have said, "Oh yes, Mr. Mailer, you're the young man who doesn't know how to spell fuck." We then picked up a maniac drummer, poet, singer from East Texas named Ken Weaver, only recently dishonorably discharged from the U.S. Air Force Intelligence Service for being a pothead. And he framed his discharge paper and hung it proudly in his Fifth Street digs. A few other heavily drugged adepts, semi-musicians like us, hooked up with us, but they soon fell out. Couldn't remember rehearsal time. And then, quite luckily, Steve Weber, Peter Stamford, the Holy Modal Rounders joined us, and we were off. Our first gig was in Ed Sanders' Peace-Eye bookstore, a former kosher butcher, and the kosher sign was still in the window, at 383 East 10th Street. In the store, Ed sold beatnik poet pamphlets and other esoterica, like a set, this was sort of unique, each in its own glassine envelope of pubic hairs of the poets. And in addition, from the back room, he published and ran off in an old Gestetner Mimeo, the classic lit mag of the period called Fuck You, a Magazine of the Arts. Our first concert was held in the store in 1964, written up with fulsome praise and wonder by the woman editor, whose name has slipped my feeble mind, of a Time magazine's in-house newsletter. Time was a big thing then. Now Time, forget Time. We next played a few gigs at Diane de Prima's Repertory Theater in the Ukrainian Communist Meeting Hall. You remember that hall? You remember Ukrainian Communists? On East 7th Street, where the highlights were, one, when George Romeli, I think it's George, mooned the lackadaisical audience at the end of the show by framing his ass with the stage curtains. The second great event there was Tennessee Williams coming to see our show, getting drunk and falling asleep on an audience bench and missing the whole show. And last but least was my shy performance under a huge burlap potato sack, singing a highly muffled song using the theme of Goldfinger. Goldfinger, da 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 da. But my song was boldly called and rendered as Stinkfinger. You all know what that means, right? If you don't, you're too young. Next, we played Izzy Young's Folklore Center on 6th Avenue near Bleecker. Izzy loved to boast that he also hosted Bobby Dylan's first New York concert. And we then moved into weekends at Jonas Megas' Cinematheque on St. Mark's near 3rd Avenue. We're an instant hit there. The whole East Side hippie community attended us. They came up on the stage to sing along, to laugh, to scream, break furniture. And they even helped to write some of our early songs. And the rest is a mystery. No, a history. And the rest is a hysterical history, hysterical mystery. Now, I'd like to sing a song from that period, part of a song, archetypical Fugs song from that period, written by our friend, the fine poet Ted Berrigan, and called Doing All Right. I got a hairs growing round my nose and throat. I don't ever exercise the right to vote. When you see me on the streets, you yell, Jesus Christ, but I'm getting mine. I'm doing all right. Hey, I'm not ever gonna go to a Vietnam. I prefer to stay right here and screw your mom. When you see me on the street, you yell, Jesus Christ, but I'm getting mine. I'm doing all right. When I walk down the street, the people that I meet, they hold their noses and say, how are you fixed for brains? But I just walk on by. I don't even hear them because I'm high. And I never worry about any balance of trade. We gotta love one another and we gotta die. So rip your panties off and look me right in the eye. Can't miss me. I look a lot like Jesus Christ, and I'm getting mine. I'm doing all right. Yeah, I'm getting mine. Hey, what you doing tonight? I'm getting mine, baby. What you doing tonight?